Good morning, my friends. Good morning. Today is Monday, September 16th of 2024, and thank you so much for coming to hang out with me this morning. Today, we are expecting some new news with regard to the Gilgo Beach victims, murders, some updates. What's so weird about this is that Ray Tierney, who is the DA in Suffolk County, New York, here on Long Island, announced this on Friday and then said that the press conference would not be until today, which is Monday. And that's kind of weird. So, hello, Dennis. Gadsden Freedom Outdoors. Good to see you. Yeah, we have no idea what's going on with this case either. And why did Ray Tierney wait until today to do this press conference? It's kind of weird. Here's a piece from News 12 that kind of makes it look like what they're going to talk about today is Asian Doe, which is the Asian male who was dressed in women's clothing, whose body was found along Gilgo Beach more than a decade ago. And I think what they want to do is get the word out with some updated sketches with regard to this victim. So hopefully they can identify him. But again, I don't know. They may also have some other information for us. So look, we're here for it, whatever it is. This is a piece from News 12 that aired 5:30 a.m. today. So this is what they think the press conference is going to be about. Let's take a listen.
Also today, we will be learning new information in connection to the Gilgo Beach murders. The Suffolk District Attorney's Office will be releasing that new information about an unidentified Asian male whose remains were found more than a decade ago. Now, we spoke to a retired NYPD detective and an adjunct professor at John Jay College. He believes that the DA will be showing a new sketch of the Gilgo Beach victim that's been known as Asian Doe, whose remains were recovered along Ocean Parkway back in 2011.
Right now, they don't have enough, so they're just doing any resources available. And this new sketch that they did, I know they did one in the past, but this will be more forensically correct for the victim's remains. I believe the skull, and that's what they're going to release to the public.
As we've reported, investigators estimate the man died 5 to 10 years before his remains were found. They believe he was in his late 20s or late teens rather, or early 20s at the time of his death. Again, this was back in 2011 that they found his remains. The DA is holding a press conference at 10 o'clock this morning with that new information. You can watch that live here on News 12 and, of course, always on the free News 12 app.
5:04 now. And
the free News 12 app, unlike everything else that's not free here on Long Island. Where are my fellow Long Islanders? Are you here? Are you here, my guys? Weird, too, because the announcement for this press conference, I'll show it to you, indicated that only people with press credentials were allowed to go into the press conference. It's not going to be held outdoors. It's going to be held indoors, which is unusual for a presser with this DA. Usually he does his pressers outside the courthouse. Let me see if I can find that. I mean, it says here, Mary Murphy, who's one of the veteran, let's say, reporters on Long Island, indicated that Ray Tierney, who's the DA, is going to be appearing with federal and state partners at this presser. And so that's interesting. There hasn't been a lot of information released. And also what I thought was interesting is that why can't I find this original press release? Well, it's being held somewhere in Brentwood. And you need press credentials to get in like a gymnasium somewhere. Maybe at the police headquarters or something. So we haven't heard a lot about the Gilgo Beach Task Force lately. And also, what is so interesting is that the county had started a website. I think it was called gilgonews.com. And it's down. The website is down. It's been down since June. And it's still not back up. So that was kind of weird. They first unveiled this website in 2020. So I don't know why they've taken down the website. The website had all of the information, all the current information on it. And it was actually, yeah, maybe that's what it is, Suffolk County. Community College Brentwood campus. Yeah, that's what Team Brittany said. Everything has to be confirmed beforehand, like Dennis said, not being secretive, really just careful. Yeah, I think they want to release information because they need the public's help. But again, why did they take down that website? Kind of weird. It's still down. I looked for it yesterday. And here's what Tierney says on his Instagram, which is where it's going to be broadcast live on his Instagram. It says press conference, Gilgo Beach homicide investigation, September 16th, 2024, 10 a.m. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney to provide new information about the victim known as Asian Doe in the investigation conducted by the Gilgo Beach Homicide Investigation Task Force. News 12 is also going to be covering it live, so we'll see where we can get the best audio. Here's a picture.
I'm calling on Governor Hochul to veto the latest pro-criminal wrongful conviction act passed by our legislature.
I didn't realize that it had audio as well. But anyway, you can take a look at him. That's our district attorney, Suffolk County, Long Island, Ray Tierney. And here, this is when Rodney Harrison was part of the police department in Suffolk County, which he is no longer.
He's been indicted in a grand
Start
jury.
this from the beginning.
I'm standing here with my law enforcement partners in the Gilgo Task Force to announce the indictment of defendant Rex Andrew Heerman. He's been indicted in a grand jury presentation by the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office for the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The investigation of Maureen Brainerd Barnes is ongoing. For each of the murders, he got an individual burner phone, and he used that to communicate with the victims. Then shortly after the death of the victims, he then would get rid of the burner phone. Special agents with the CAS unit of the FBI, they immediately began looking at that cell site data. They compared the victims' phones with the burner phones, and they immediately honed in on some similarities, specifically in the Massapequa Park area. And they looked at an area of a confluence of 4 cell towers, and they realized that this had significance because the perpetrator of these crimes was probably located within this area during, at, or around the times of the murder.
That was back in July of 2023. That's when Rex Heerman was indicted. Since then, he's been indicted for a few more of the Gilgo bodies, as you may recall. Let's see what News 12 is doing. I thought also the Carly Gregg trial was supposed to start today, or there was supposed to be something this morning, but I'm not seeing. Nobody's put it up yet that they're covering it live. Court TV doesn't have it up. Law and Crime doesn't have it up. If anybody has seen it, let me know, because I don't know what time that's starting. That's in Mississippi. So it should be something like 10 a.m. New York time, but I haven't seen it. So we will see. We'll see what Ray Tierney has to say today. What's on your minds, folks? Somebody said that they thought that that Rex Heerman took a plea and that there was no need for the website. No, I don't think so. It says the website was taken down immediately after the last 2 indictments. Apparently also on Wednesday, there's going to be a Trump rally at Nassau Coliseum. Did anybody know about that? Because that was news to me. So avoid the area, my friends, on Long Island. Avoid the Uniondale area and probably all the parkways on Wednesday, because it's going to be a traffic nightmare. Carly Gregg jury selection is starting today, but I haven't seen anything about streaming. I haven't either, Kathy. And also, there was supposed to be a hearing on Friday that was canceled. So, yeah, it could be jury selection today, but there were some things that we were still waiting to hear on from the court. So that's why I was a little curious about that. See if news. Okay, there we go. I've got News 12 Live up. Supposed to start at 10 a.m. So we'll see. Who knows if he'll be on time? We're here for it. Ashley Benefield, yes, we are going to cover that. I have that already up for 1:15. But again, I don't see that anybody's put it up that they're going to be in the courtroom. But we'll be here for it if it's going to happen. So please make sure you set your notification for that. Did anybody watch the 2020 on Ashley Benefield? And what did you think? We'll talk about that later as well. Even if it is jury selection on Carly Gregg, they should have something up. They should at least have some of the court feed up before it starts. Right? They usually do. Let's pull up. I don't want to pull anything up because if we get, we'll have to take it down as soon as they go live. So we're just waiting. Live TV, folks, live TV. Yeah, I can't imagine Rex taking a plea either. I don't think it's going to happen, in my opinion. I wonder if he's only got 535 followers. Oh, no, he doesn't. I'm sorry. 2,844 followers on Instagram. Still less than I have. So I guess maybe he's trying to build his Instagram following, Ray Tierney. Could be. Yeah, that's what Sonia said. Could Rex have taken a plea and therefore no need for the website anymore? I don't think so. Yeah, Teresa, he's been dead for like 20 years and nobody has come forward to say they know who he is. So perhaps they've now got a better sketch. We're going to find out. It'll be interesting to see who is with him during this press conference. Let's see if Mary Murphy's got any information for us. Well, this was 3 minutes ago and he's not live yet. And neither is News 12 live with us. He did release a couple of photos or sketches, a couple of new sketches, which we can take a look at while we're waiting. Very strange. Here are some new sketches, according to Mary Murphy. Says 3 images of Asian doe released Monday by Ray Tierney, DA. Suffolk County DA believes the Gilgo victim lived as a trans woman, likely came from southern China. Posters seeking information will be released in multiple languages. So these are far better than the original sketch that we saw. Hopefully a family or friends will come forward and we can get more information on who this victim is. Perhaps these pictures were given out to the media who are attending the press conference before they go live with it. And so we're getting them out to you first. Mary Murphy says, first look, Asian doe as female, one of 3 images released by Ray Tierney Monday after forensic anthropologists examined the Gilgo victim's skull. Asian doe was found in April of 2011, dressed in women's clothing between 17 and 23 years of age. Here we go.
And we will not stop in our pursuit of justice. And what we want to do, because it is our mission, we need to get justice for the victims of homicide, in this case, as well as others. And just as importantly, we need to provide answers to the families of murder victims. So today we're asking for the public's help in identifying an individual who has been known as Asian Doe. They were found on Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in 2011, and despite our best efforts, this person still remains nameless. And by nameless, I mean to us, to members of the task force. This person certainly had a life and loved ones and friends who knew them by their name. And it's important that this victim get their name back, and just as importantly, the people who cared for this individual get answers. So we are hopeful that with this new information and the community's assistance, we will be able to identify Asian Doe and bring a resolution to the case. Before I get into the meat of the press conference, I just want to thank the task force members who are here. Obviously, my team, Chief Investigator Rich Zacharis, and our ADAs, investigators, and analysts. We have NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I want to thank them for their assistance. They're not present at the press conference, but as you'll see, they were integral in with their assistance in this case. In this instance, we also have our partners from the Suffolk County PD, Commissioner Rob Waring. Actually, Rob Waring's to my left, sneaky. Chief of Detectives Darrell Simmons, as well as Deputy Inspector Sean Barron and their team of investigators. We have the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. We have the New York State Police, led by Lieutenant St. Drew, and you can hear from Lieutenant St. Drew in a moment. We also have the FBI and their team. We thank them for their assistance. We have Senior Supervising Resident Agent Don Ospacker and some investigators on the Gilgo Task Force. We thank them for their assistance and for their presence. The Secret Service, we want to thank them for their help. They're not present at this press conference, but they've been helping with the electronic evidence. We also have received, in this instance, assistance from the New York City Police Department, who are not here. But again, we want to help. Thank the NYPD for helping us gain access to the significant Asian population in the city. Now, before I get into that new information, I just want to discuss with you all where you can find the visuals that have been provided to my left. The new information and visuals provided here today will be provided to the press. They will be posted on NCMEC's website and their Help ID Me Facebook page. And again, this is a place where members of the public can go and look at pictures and information concerning missing victims of crime and provide law enforcement with information. There's also a VICAP public webpage and law enforcement repository. VICAP is the Violent Criminal Apprehension Bureau, and that is run by the FBI. And so you can go on their website, provide information, learn information. And of course, it is available right now on my website, the District Attorney's website, as well as our social media. And this information includes updated forensic reconstruction images of Asian Doe, which were provided by NCMEC, descriptions of the clothing of the victim, which he was wearing at the time of death, a picture of the various clothing labels of the clothes that were worn, new genealogical data, as well as information as to the victim's age, height, and gender identity information. Now, with regard to the initial investigation in this case, the remains of Asian Doe were discovered on April 4th, 2011. They were found, the skeletal remains were found on Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in New York. I believe found in between just closest to Megan Waterman. The initial examination revealed the following. The victim was a biological male of Asian descent. The victim was between the ages of 17 and 23. So there he was a teenager or very young adult when the murder occurred. And he was about 5'6" tall, give or take a couple of inches either way. Unfortunately, this victim suffered a violent death. The cause of death was homicide by blunt force trauma. We know the death occurred during or prior to 2006, and that those remains were on Ocean Beach for at least 5 years before being discovered in 2011. So the actual murder occurred based on the forensic examination of the remains in 2006 or earlier. Some of this information is being released for the first time, specifically the descriptions of the clothes that Asian Doe was wearing at the time of death, and that although Asian Doe was a biological male, Asian Doe was wearing exclusively women's clothing. He was wearing a Chrysanthemum brand blue ribbed short sleeve shirt with a crew neck, size large. He was wearing a Raffaello brand shirt, size 10, and he was wearing a pair of women's pants and a bra, both by the brand Bill Blass. And with regard to the forensic reconstruction images, the task force was able to work with a National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, and a forensic artist examined the victim's skull to create the facial reconstructions that you see here. And those reconstructions depict what the victim may have looked like prior to their disappearance and murder. We have two pictures of a person with short hair, one head on and one in the profile. And we have a third picture of an individual with long hair. Because the victim was wearing exclusively women's clothing at the time of death, it is possible that they identified as a woman or were known by others as being a woman. The Gilgo Beach Task Force also utilized genetic genealogy to learn more about this victim's specific ethnicity. It was previously known that this victim was of Asian descent. However, now we know that it is a strong likelihood that the victim is of Southern Chinese descent, Han Chinese descent, and Han Chinese is one of the 56 officially recognized ethnicities in the People's Republic of China. This is a significant development because unfortunately, South Asia is underrepresented in our genealogy databases, meaning there are not a lot of Asian profiles in the database. Therefore, investigative genetic genealogy in this instance is a challenge. It's a challenge to identify this victim. And so far, it has proved to be difficult and has provided few leads. Hence, the purpose for us being here today. We're looking for the media's assistance, and we're looking for the public's assistance in helping us provide information on this victim to get this victim's name back. And I'll just come over. These are the pictures of the individual. We have a picture of Asian Doe with short, as they would appear with short hair, and a picture of Asian Doe as they would appear with longer hair. Now, with regard to outreach to the community, again, we've leaned on all our partners as we always do, but particularly in this instance, the New York City Police Department and the state troopers. We've asked for the NYPD's assistance in translating this flyer into Mandarin, into Cantonese, into Thai, and into Bahasa, which is an Indonesian language. And the NYPD will further assist in distributing flyers on the ground in the Asian communities across New York City. And again, as we know, there's a significant Asian population in New York City, so we thank them for their help. We've invited several Asian media outlets to be present here in the hopes that they can reach the Asian community directly and provide this information to those communities. Regarding our goals for doing this, this is a call to action. we want to enlist the public's help in trying to identify Asian doe. With regard to the translations, we hope that the public and the Asian media outlets will further assist us in translating and disseminating this information into additional Asian dialects, which will further aid in the process of identification. Again, this person had a name, this person had family, this person had friends. We're reaching out to anyone who might have known this individual to help us with that identification. Again, I would just add with regard to DNA databases, those who would like to help identify Asian doe or any other victim or missing persons in the Asian or any other community to help, you can upload your DNA to Family Tree DNA and into GEDmatch Pro and opt into law enforcement matching. You know, contrary to popular opinion, law enforcement doesn't have access to all DNA databases. And this identification, this IgG technology that we use, as you can see, we don't just utilize it to identify suspects. We also use it to identify victims and to provide closure to the families of missing victims.
Come give us your
If you
DNA,
really wanna
everyone.
help, please consider uploading your DNA profile into those two commercial databases, which allow law enforcement to access that information, but only with the consent of the consumer. Now, third, we ask that if you were around in the late 90s and early 2000s, think about the people you associated with. Think about the people you know. Did anyone of Asian descent go missing? We believe Asian doe may have been working as a sex worker around the time of their disappearance prior to 2006. We believe that they spent some time in New York City prior to their death. And we want to urge the public, don't discount someone just because you know them to be from somewhere outside of New York City. As we know, people often come to New York City for a myriad of reasons. Prior to 2006, this person had friends, possible classmates, or co-workers, and a family. Someone knows who this individual is, and we need that person or persons to contact us. So that's what we're asking. Again, with the help of the media, let's get these photos out, let's get this information out, and let's identify Asian doe. Crime Stoppers is offering a $2,500 reward for information leading to the identification of Asian doe. Anyone with information regarding this case or the identification of the victim is asked to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS, TIPS, or via email or the mobile app.
What? What happened to your coverage, News 12? They just froze their coverage. Way to go. See if it picks back up. Really? I'll refresh it. There we go. Thank you.
Bureau of Criminal Investigation. I'm introducing Lieutenant Richard St.
Lieutenant Richard St. Preux, and he is going to introduce the Mandarin translator. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Richard St. Preux with the New York State Police. I cover the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. I'm introducing Trooper Shin Sung Lee, who will be translating into Mandarin.
Mandarin interpreter.
今天吉尔格海滩凶杀专案组请求广大群众的帮助，来辨认一具发现于2011年11月，2011年4月4日发现的受害人遗体。受害人为亚裔男性，有可能来自于中国南方，有可能为汉族。警方认为受害人的受害时间 大约在2006年或者之前，该名受害人怀疑被钝器暴力击打致死。遇害时的年龄大约在17岁到23岁之间，遗体被发现时有穿着女性服装。我们呼吁广大的华人群众能够帮助警方一起辨认这名照片中的受害人，以及受害人身上的衣物残留。如果在您认识的人当中有2016年，有2006年或者之前的失联人员，并且与照片上的受害人样貌相似，或者是服装相同的话。
Need to refresh it again.
Thank you, Lieutenant, and thank you, Trooper Lee. With that, I'll open it up to questions. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Tierney, did Rex Heuermann, was he known to search pornography websites for Asian men or women?
So, we have a bail document which details some of the internet searches done by the defendant, and some did contain searches using
Asian twink was one of his searches, you may recall.
similar terms that you just described. Anything else?
Mr. Tierney, can you speak more about the manner of death in which this victim was discovered?
So yeah, it's a violent death, blunt force trauma, which led to the individual's death. So this was a violent assault resulting in the defendant's death. No, we don't have anyone there, but basically what it is the forensic anthropologists, forensic artists, they start at the skull, and then using the characteristics of the skull, they essentially create, and using their training, of course, they create the diagram of the individual. So we believe this is the most accurate possible depiction of the victim. That was the language that the trooper, I'm sorry, Mandarin. Yeah. Yes.
Was there good DNA preserved at the crime scene, from prior to 2006? That's many years that the victim was there, Asian doe.
Yeah.
Is there DNA you can work with that maybe could tie this victim?
I mean, I think you never say never. We've seen the way that the DNA technology has evolved. So we do have DNA, and so we're working with it. I'll get you in a second.
DA, how rare is it for somebody not to be identified for such a long period of time that, no one has come forward and said they can't, your career? How rare is that?
It's not unheard of, especially when you're talking about, a crime of this nature, and you're talking about a community that's an immigrant community that tends to be insular. So again, we think a lot of times, and again, this person, we believe, was brought from outside the jurisdiction into the jurisdiction. So when you combine all those things, it's not that unusual. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we send out the information far and wide, not just to Suffolk County, not just to New York, but across the country and across the world. Yeah, I'm sorry, Greg.
Were there any similarities in the way that this body was disposed of with those that were left nearby? And are you considering Rick Heuermann a suspect in this case?
So,
That was Greg Sergel, and he said, is there any similarities between the way this victim was left and the other victims that were found on Gilgo? And I think he's referring to being wrapped in burlap or tied with a belt or ropes.
So if you look at, where it was situated, I think it was about 300 or so feet from Megan Waterman in that same stretch of Parkway. So it's between Megan Waterman and Jessica Taylor. And, as we've said all along, each one of these, these victims, it's a separate crime scene. Start from that separate crime scene and you work your way up, which we're doing. And, it's all nice to speculate, but it basically doesn't matter until you can bring charges. And we're certainly not at that stage. Well, I think probably what you're referencing is specifically with regard to the Gilgo 4. Those were uniquely, they were almost identical, and they're, unique from the other bodies.
Was there other DNA evidence found with this victim that you don't believe belonged to this victim?
There's always evidence at the scene, and we're analyzing that evidence, and if it bears fruit and results in charges, we'll talk about it at that time.
Mr. Tierney, when you talked about how this victim was found wearing clothing, and you talked about the other victims you go before, was there any other material, not burlap, but anything else, a sheet, a pillowcase, anything at all that was found?
I'm not entirely certain. I know.
You're not entirely certain? This is your investigation, sir. You're heading up the task force. That's a great question, whether there was any burlap found or any pillowcases or any other material found around this victim, which was found in between two of Rex Heuermann's other victims.
Specifically that this victim was clad in the clothes that we've described.
You've been watching live as Suffolk District Attorney Ray Tierney reveals new details about one of the Gilgo Beach murder victims, the victim known as Asian Doe. That was a body and remains that were found in
So let us hear it
2011
instead of
along
speaking over
Ocean
it.
Parkway near Gilgo Beach. A biological male of Asian descent that the
Dude.
district attorney just said was wearing women's clothing. The district attorney's office also releasing new images of what that victim may have looked like. We have those posted on our website, news12.com. We'll be right back.
Well, why do you go to commercial?
Some Goya Maria cookies, the ones with the golden wrapper.
And that golden wrapper do this?
You're kidding me, right?
No, but it's the perfect snack.
And you can turn them into a real treat.
The
Goya Maria cookies. Give snack time a golden
the
touch.
broadcasting it live on his own Instagram was a fail because it's not there. So thanks, News 12, for interrupting the press conference. This is one of the most, if not the most important story on Long Island. You are Long Island's news channel, and you thought it would be a good idea to just interrupt the press conference? Well done to you, News 12. Well done. Yeah, right. During the most important part, I wonder if they're going to go right back. Unbelievable. I mean, his own press release said that he was going to be broadcasting this live on his own Instagram, but it's not there. Unbelievable. So now we'll have to wait. Channel 10? What Channel 10 where? Channel 10 in New York? Get that ad revenue. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let's see what Mary Murphy's up to. I doubt that any of the reporters who are in this this gymnasium are allowed to be broadcasting this live. Mary Murphy's got a 1-minute clip of the Mandarin interpreter that we just saw. Interesting that they could find a Mandarin interpreter for Suffolk County Attorney Ray Tierney, but when Enrique Delgado Garcia is bludgeoned or pummeled to death and is brought to the hospital and put on life support, they can't supply his family with a Spanish interpreter to explain to them what happened. If you didn't watch that show last night that I did with Sean McDonough, go back and watch it. Another horrific case coming out of the Massachusetts State Police.
Court is set to hold oral arguments today about a law that would ban TikTok in the country.
Well
Congress
done.
passed the bill last April.
Well
and
done. Thank you
President
so
Biden
much
signed into law. That ban would
for your coverage. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it is baloney. Yeah. News 12 went down the tubes when Dolan sold it to the French company years ago. Hold on a second. Let's see if we can find it somewhere else because now I'm mad. Everyone go on to News 12 if you're on Twitter and, tell them what you think. Because it was a big fail. No, that's from 3 months ago. That's from a year ago. On Court TV? Court TV Live or Court TV YouTube? This press conference? Gotta love live TV. It's on Court TV, but it's not live. So I don't know how much of it they have. But we'll tune in there, even though I know you guys hate the person who is currently, right now, as such, hosting this show. It's going to take us back a little bit, so there's that.
Is specifically with regard to the Gilgo 4. Those were uniquely, they were almost identical, and they're unique from the other bodies. So there's always evidence at the scene, and we're analyzing that evidence, and if it bears fruit and results in charges, we'll talk about it at that time.
When you talk about how this was found where the building and talk about the LEDs that were before, was there any other material, automatic, anything else, sheet, or case, anything at all that was found?
I'm not entirely certain. I know specifically that this victim was clad in the clothes that we've described.
All right, we're going to hit the pause button right here. So essentially, there is no definitive answer as to who this victim is, but investigators seem to be encouraged by some bits of information they've been able to ascertain through the various components of their investigation. They're hoping that by doing this today, the public will think long and hard about who it could be. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we'll get you back into that press conference live.
1, 2, 3.
Well, not really. That wasn't live because we were watching it live. Why am I hearing this in my headphones? See if we can get this one up. Newsday has something up. Let's check Newsday. See if we can get any more information than what we heard.
Our victim, we start from our crime scene, we work our way out, and we don't talk about it until we're able to charge someone. There's always physical evidence, and you work through the physical evidence. You utilize the various modalities. Those modalities are changing, evolving, so it's a continuing process. And until that process is complete, you don't discuss it. So we're not at that stage where we're prepared to discuss it. But there's always a myriad of physical evidence at any scene. It's just whether or not it's relevant or not, or it's able to be tested.
This one, you can't even hear the questions.
He was not wrapped in burlap.
He was not wrapped in burlap because we got that much.
Well, I would just ask that you look at the bail document, because we have a number of searches with regard to searches that could arguably be related to this victim, as well as the Gilgo Beach investigation and the discovery of bodies on Gilgo in general. Sure. Well, that's it's the public, and some, I think when you talk about, immigrant communities from outside of Suffolk County and a body found inside Suffolk County in general, you wouldn't be all that surprised in having difficulty to identify this particular victim. And then, there are all those other factors as well. So, not completely unsurprising that we've not been able to identify the victim. But the most important thing is that we identify that victim, regardless of the outcome of any criminal case, just to provide that victim and their family with, give the victim his or her name back, and provide the family with closure.
Maybe they want to identify the family before they say it's related to the Rex Heuermann.
It's based upon our investigation, which I'm not going to get into. Yeah, these were done through NCMEC, and that was a fairly involved process. We really appreciate their assistance. Obviously, it's a painstaking process, and it took some time. So, once we had the information available, and also the DNA, the specific genealogy DNA, we wanted to provide it to the public, because we think it'll help the investigation and help to identify this individual. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming.
Well, at least we caught the end of it. I usually try and repeat the questions for you, as you know.
About 5'6" tall, and between the ages of 17 and 23 at the time of death. There is also new information released about the clothing recovered from the victim. Investigators say a blue short sleeve shirt and other clothing were all on the scene. You see it here. The death, which the DA calls a violent death, happened at least 5 years during or before 2006.
2011 was when the body or the remains were found. I'm going to stop this here to reiterate what Ray Tierney said at the press conference, is that the brand name of the clothing, and it was women's clothing that this biological Asian male was wearing, was a chrysanthemum blue ribbed short sleeve shirt with a crew neck, Rafaela brand shirt, and Bill Blass pants and a bra. Those were all very popular brands back in the day. And here are the clothing tags. They have pictures of them. Take this back a second to give you the updated sketches so that you can share them out, share the stream out. Hoping to find the family of the victim, who they say is they were able to pinpoint further with recent DNA technology that this individual is of Southern Chinese descent. They even had Mandarin interpreter at the press conference. He's a biological male, aged 17 to 23. They believe that he or they went missing around or prior to or during 2006. The remains were not found until 2011, and they were found in the same location as at least 7 other bodies, including the Gilgo 4, and 2 more, of which Rex Heuermann, the suspected Long Island serial killer, has been indicted. So let's listen to this again.
The time of death. There is also new information released about the clothing recovered from the victim. Investigators say a blue short sleeve shirt and other clothing were all on the scene. You see it here. The death, which the DA calls a violent death, happened at least 5 years during or before 2006. I'm Jasmine Anderson. You can find our full coverage on the Gilgo beach killings on Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
Okay, we're going to go now to, thank you for someone to pointing this out to me. Eyewitness News live stream also had some things to say about this.
Second, take politics aside.
Oh, well, they did, but now it's not live anymore. Let's see if they have the video up yet. Not seeing it. Let's take a look at the Suffolk County Gilgo Beach investigations map. It seems that there's a lot of people in the chat who are not familiar with this case. So this is not a new victim. The remains of this victim were found back in 2011, which is around the same time that there were several other victims' remains found. So the original Gilgo 4, for which Rex Heuermann has already been indicted, the first to be discovered was Melissa Barthelemy. And if you can see my cursor on your screen here, it's not a fly. This is a very short strip of Ocean Parkway on the south shore of Long Island. Melissa Barthelemy was the first victim to be discovered, and that was on December 11th of 2010. Melissa Barthelemy's body was discovered when a Suffolk County police officer was out with a cadaver dog. They were looking at the time for Shannon Gilbert. After Melissa Barthelemy's remains were found on the 13th of December 2010, they found the remains of 3 more women who have come to be known as the Gilgo 4. Amber Lynn Costello, right here on the left of your screen, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, and Megan Waterman. All 4 of these victims, known as the Gilgo 4, were wrapped in burlap, and the burlap was secured by, in one case, a belt, in some of the other cases, duct tape. And on those victims were found hairs of the suspect, Rex Heuermann, and hairs of his wife and our daughter. On March 29th of 2011, some remains were found a little bit further down Ocean Parkway, on the north side of Ocean Parkway. Jessica Taylor's remains were found on March 29th of 2011. The victim whose press conference we just watched, Asian male or Asian Doe, were found April 4th, 2011, same day as Jane Doe number 6, April 4th, 2011, and the female toddler's body, April 4th of 2011. All of these remains were found within, this is only about a 1.5 mile stretch. It is my opinion that all of these victims are victims of Rex Heuermann. What are the odds that this is the dumping ground for more than one serial killer? TD says Shannon Gilbert, I think, was chased by him. Those 911 calls, someone was chasing her. Sad, she's still not included. I know. I agree. I think she's part of this as well. That's my story. So what I just showed you was a Patch article from June of 2024. And that was right after the Gilgo website was taken down. I'm going to put these pictures back up for you again so that you can share them out, because you guys are on it, my armchair sleuths. And I know you'll get the word out. And here are the most recent sketches of victim Asian Doe. It was a biological male who was dressed and found in women's clothing. But again, the remains were found at least 5 years after this person went missing. I agree with you, Jen. So glad they're finally working these cases the way they should have been all along. Yep. So my friends, please share these out. Again, the description: biological male, age 17 to 23. These remains were found on Ocean Parkway on April 4th, 2011, closest to Megan Waterman. These are updated forensic images. They believe that the cause of death was blunt force trauma, that the remains had been in that location for at least 5 years. So this victim went missing in or before 2006, possibly identified as a woman, is of Southern Chinese descent. They are asking for media and public assistance. This is a call to action, my friends. A call to actions. I'm going to put the Crime Stoppers. I am going to put the Crime Stoppers information up here. So please call Crime Stoppers if you have any information. Because I know that you guys can get this done. The Worcester DA is having a press conference at 11 a.m. Oh, look at that. We're rolling into 11 a.m. Who's going to be broadcasting that? Is this on Enrique Delgado Garcia? Reality check coming in with the intel. I think we should cover that because I'm not seeing Carly Gregg coming up. Let's do it. Less than 100 people out of 300 who were called for jury selection showed up for the Gregg trial this morning. Really? That's interesting, Toy. Yeah, Phoebe, I never would have run around Long Island so innocently in the late 90s, early 2000 had I known. Yeah. Yeah. Look, we covered a lot of cold cases from Long Island back in the day, from the 80s and 90s, that we thought may or may not be related to the Long Island serial killer. A lot of them have a lot of similarities. Thanks, Tracy. NBC 10. All right. Thanks for the info. Let's head on over there and do that. I'll redirect you and we'll cover that one today as well. What time is it? All right. I just scheduled that. So that is where we are, my friends. Thank you so much for coming to join me today. Thank you, Reality Check, for this information. I'm going to teleport you over to that stream and we will cover that. I'll be there in a few seconds. Give me a second to redirect you. If you haven't watched last night's stream, please go watch it. It's a very, very tragic case out of the Massachusetts State Police Academy. They called it an accident or a medical event. And I think we all know it may not be what they're saying. So I'm interested to hear what the Worcester DA has to say on this case. And I think that you are too. Safe travels, my friends. Thank you so much to the moderators for keeping it classy today. Please share this information out on Asian Doe so that hopefully Asian Doe can be identified. And if you have any information or know anybody who has any information, they also believe that Asian Doe was probably working as a sex worker. And it was interesting also that he said, Ray Tierney said that it is possible that he was from New York City. And I wonder if they have any information or any DNA from the suspect. He didn't really say that. But he did encourage everyone to go give their DNA to GEDmatch. So that was interesting. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. Thanks, Mods, for keeping it classy. Go on over, my friends. We're going to cover the press conference from the Worcester DA's office on Enrique Delgado Garcia, which is supposed to start in about 13 minutes. Safe travels. Please hit the like button on your way out. Please hit the like button on your way in. Please share the stream out. It really helps the algorithm and it really helps the channel. And you know how much I appreciate you guys so much. And until then, my friends, I'll see you very soon. Be cool, be kind, be classy, not hard. So, not hard. See you in 2.